Good day, everyone! For today's video, we will be discussing a topic that plays a major role in agriculture and food production, the genetically modified organisms. But before we start, let us introduce ourselves first. I am May Taguparaot-Raot.
And I am Leon O'Reilly.
I am Maria Clara Sleca Librado.
To start our discussion, let's first understand what GMOs actually are. I guess everyone is familiar with GMOs, right? So let's just consider it as a review. So GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, are living things, whether plants, animals, or microorganisms whose DNA has been altered using biotechnology. When we say biotechnology, it uses living organisms' biological systems or their components to create products and technologies to improve human life. And these modified organisms are done to improve traits such as pest resistance, higher yield, enhanced nutrition, and better tolerance to drought or some other stresses. And now that we know what GMOs are, let's explore how this technology began.
The story of GMOs, or genetically modified organism, was begun in the early 1970s when the scientists were able to successfully transfer the DNA from one organism to another and started with the simplest organism. In 1973, the two scientists, namely Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen, was created the first GMO, a modified bacterium. So what is modified bacterium? A modified bacterium, or genetically engineered bacterium, is a microbe whose DNA has been altered using genetic engineering to give it new or enhanced abilities. In addition to that, the Philippines also joined the scientific progress. The country approved Bitcoin in 2002, which is resistant to certain pests. And in 2021, it approved golden rice, which is enriched with vitamins to help improve health. All of this important development were made possible because of the work of the pioneering scientists who explored new ways to improve plants, food, and health through genetics.
Here are the key contributors to GMO development. First is Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen, pioneers of recombinant DNA technology. They developed techniques to cut and piece DNA fragments, creating recombinant DNA. Herbert Boyer and Stanley Cohen, their work allowed scientists to insert genes from one organism into another, laying the groundwork for genetic engineering. The second one is Murray Dale Shelton, a major figure in plant genetic engineering. Shelton discovered how to use agrobacterium to transfer genes into plants. The third one is Ingo Patricus and Peter Bayer, the developers of golden rice. They engineered rice to produce beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A. And golden rice aims to control vitamin A deficiency in population where rice is a staple of food. The last one is Dennis Gonzalez, created the virus of resistant papaya. Gonzalez used genetic engineering to protect papaya trees from the papaya ring spot virus, or PRSV. His work saved the papaya industry in Hawaii and other regions.
So how GMOs are made? First is find a useful gene. So for example, the genetically modified corn. So the scientists found a useful bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis that naturally kills harmful insects. Second is isolate the gene. So the gene that found will be isolated to its original organism. Then third is insert the gene using the agrobacterium or gene gun. So using the gene gun, the gene that found will be inserted into the DNA of the plant. Fourth is grow the modified organism. Fifth is test in the lab. So the genetically modified organism will be tested in the lab to check if the gene will work or work properly. Then sixth is field trials. So the genetically modified organisms will be transferred into the fields so that it will check if it will work properly in real conditions. Then lastly is regulatory approval. So the experts will study the results and approve if it's okay for farmers to use or plant it.
Good day, everyone. I'm discussing about the two most notable GMO crops in the Philippines are pity corn and golden rice. Pity corn contains a gene from Bacillus thuringiensis. When we say Bacillus thuringiensis or BT, ay isang uri ng bakterya na natural na matatagpuan sa lupa. Kilala ito dahil gumagawa ito ng protina na nakakamatay sa ilang uri ng insekto. Lalo na sa mga uod at butterfly tulad ng Asian corn borer. Kapag kinain ng uod ang protinang ito, nasisira ang kanilang bituka kaya namamatay sila. Mahalaga ang biti dahil hindi ito nakakasama sa tao, hayop at karamihan ng kapaki-pakinabang na insekto. Kaya ginagamit ito bilang ligtas na pestedyo at bilang proteksyon ng mga pananim. Also allows the plant to produce its own protection against the Asian corn borer. Ano nga ba ang Asian corn borer? Ang Asian corn borer ay isang pangunahing peste ng mais na gumagawa ng butas sa tangkay, bunga at bulaklak ng halaman. Upang maprotektahan ang tanim, gumagamit ang magsasaka ng iba't ibang paraan tulad ng cultural, biological, and chemical methods. And it helps to higher yields and reduce pesticide use. And the golden rice, engineered to contain beta-carotene, source of vitamin A, and approved for cultivation in 2021, helps address vitamin A deficiency, especially among children. These crops show how GMOs can be used to address health and agricultural challenges in our country. Intersection GM technology is not limited to plants. Scientists have also created genetically modified animals.
Examples of GMO animals. Though the Philippines do not particularly practice modified animals, here are two well-known examples of them that are globally used. The EnviroPig are engineered to digest phosphorus more efficiently and aims to reduce environmental pollution from their manure. They might not be commercially released but widely studied. Transgenic goats, on the other hand, are modified to produce useful medicines like antithrombin in their milk. Antithrombin are proteins that helps prevent blood clots, and they are used in global biotechnology research as they demonstrate how animals can be used as bioreactors to create medicines needed for treating serious diseases. These examples show how GM technology can extend beyond agriculture into medicine and environmental protection. And given these applications, why do we actually use GMOs in agriculture?
GMOs are crops or animals whose genes have been modified to have special traits that are useful in agriculture. In farming, GMOs have many benefits. First, they can increase crop yields, which mean farmers can produce more food on the same land. Based on my research, GMO crops can increase harvest by around 20%, which is very helpful, especially in areas with pests or poor soil. Second, some GMOs are resistant to pests and diseases. For example, crops with butygene can naturally fight insects. Because of this, farmers need fewer chemical pesticides, which is better for the environment and for their health. GMOs can also improve nutrition, like rice that has extra vitamin E to help prevent malnutrition. They can survive harsh conditions such as drought and salty soil, making harvest more reliable even in this challenging climate. Some GMOs also have a longer shelf life, like what I've said earlier and about flavor saver tomatoes, which means they stay fresh longer after harvest. In short, GMO make farming more efficient, productive, and resilient. But alongside these benefits, GMOs also raise several concerns.
Risk and controversies. GMO can sometimes raise questions about their long term effects on human health. One possible concern is the potential creation of new allergen. When genes from one organisms are inserted into one another, the transferred gene might produce proteins that some people are allergic to. For example, if a gene from a nut is inserted into a crop, someone with a nut allergy might unknowingly react to the modified food. Although strict testing is usually done to avoid this, the possibility still exists. Another issue is the potential transfer of antibiotic resistant genes to gut bacteria. In the early development of GMOs, scientists used antibiotic resistance marker genes to track successful genetic modification. There is a theoretical risk that these genes could transfer to bacteria in a person's digestive system, causing these bacteria to become resistant to certain antibiotics. Although the risk is low, it is still considered a health concern. In addition to that, GMOs can affect the ecosystems in ways we might not expect. Disturbing ecosystems. A genetically modified plant might spread rapidly and outcompete natural species, affecting biodiversity. In addition to that, GMOs can affect the ecosystem in ways we might not expect. First is disturbing the ecosystems. A genetically modified plant might spread rapidly and outcompete natural species, affecting biodiversity. Another is harming non target organisms. For example, a BT corn variety produces a toxin to kill pest insects. However, it may accidentally affect other insects that are not pests, such as butterflies or beneficial insects. These effects can change food chain and disrupts ecological balance. In animals, on the other hand, genetic modification can sometimes cause unexpected health problems. Transgenic animals, which are animals that carry foreign genes, may develop conditions such as arthritis, abnormal growth, kidney disorder, or weakened immune systems. These issues occur because inserting new genes can disrupt normal biological functions. There is also concern that genetically altered animals might spread diseases more easily, either because their immune systems are compromised or because the modification unintentionally affects how viruses or bacteria interact with them. And these concerns highlight the need for strict monitoring. And in the Philippines, we have a biosafety system designed exactly for that.
In the Philippines, GMO regulations involves in many agencies such as the Department of Agriculture. The Department of Agriculture is plays a lead role in the regulations and evaluations of genetically modified organisms in the Philippines. Next is the DOST, or the Department of Science and Technology. DOST provides central directions and coordinations for the scientific and technological efforts, including the development of guidelines for the contained use of GMOs and research related to biotechnology. Next is the DENR, or the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. The DNR is involved in ensuring that the release of GMOs into the environment is managed to protect natural resources and the environment. And lastly is the DOH, or the Department of Health. DOH DOH re- DOH rules relates to public health and ensuring the safety of GM products for human consumptions.
To summarize, GMOs are powerful tools that can improve agriculture and address nutritional problems, but they must be used responsibly. Understanding both their benefits and risks allows us to make informed decisions about food and technology. Thank you so much for listening and have a good day ahead.